Well, look, for example, when I went to go vote and I voted by mail, I went and started looking up the different propositions and, like there's judges up for election and everything else like that. Since I'm in California, the LA Times actually had a very good breakdown of all the candidates and who they're endorsing and why.
Right.
So I got to just read through that and see what they're saying. And since they're a publication that I respect, I voted with them on a majority of things.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? There are things out there, there are resources out there that you could look it up and you could educate yourself when you don't know. And voting by mail is really a big advantage because you could actually just sit there and work it all out in your spare time, as opposed to being in that booth and seeing 20 propositions and you don't know what's what and a bunch of judges' names and you don't know who the...
Right, just get to checking shit up.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'll be ready the next time.
All right. It's never too late. It's never too late because let me tell you, a lot of your relatives got beat up, got killed, got lynched because they didn't want them to vote.
Right.
Having to pay extra fees and, like out in Selma and all that type of stuff just so they could vote.
Right.
And now when you have a chance to vote and you don't vote, all the Trump supporters are all voting.
I know.
They're all going out there hard.
But I mean, it's really not like my choices were easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of brothers out there like me that feel the same way or can't vote. So we at a disadvantage already. But is it my fault that I haven't tried? I've been out of prison 30 years.
Yep.
A little over 30 years. That's my fault.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So my Martin Luther Kings, my Malcolm X's, man, I mean, those were my black leaders. But I was still in the trenches. I wasn't paying attention to that. My mindset, my mind frame wasn't there. And at that time, I really didn't give a hoot about anything else in the world but the neighborhood or what was going on in it.
Right.
So now I'm learning my lesson. Now I'm understanding. Now I see the damage. You know what I'm saying? I see what I destroyed and I can make it better if I did vote. So
not only can you make it better by voting yourself, but you also have a louder voice than you've ever had before.
True.
With your podcast and your social media and everything else like that. And people look up to you for direction. In the same way I looked up to the LA Times to see, a direction as to how I should vote. There are millions of people that look up to Mob James and say, well, if he's saying this and he's saying to vote for this proposition and he's saying to vote for this judge, or, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
or
Biden need to hear this and need to come and get me to stand by him. And
there you go.
And come on, my people, let's do this.
There you go.
There's a lot of people mad at him. The 3 strike laws. You know what I'm saying? So I could have been a victim of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kamala Harris doesn't have a great track record when it comes to locking people up as well.
Who does, though? I mean, everybody on this planet done fucked up. A lot of people on this planet, we are greedy. We are very greedy.
Yeah.
And greed takes you there.
And think about it as well. You will now, if Biden wins, you will now have the first black and female vice president in the nation's history.
Right.
And think about all the little girls out there who say, wow, I could do it now.
Right.
Think about the change, because you and I are old enough to remember that a black U.S. president was a joke that comedians would make.
Right.
Chris Rock did a whole routine about it. Tupac wrote a song. I know it's heaven sent, but we ain't ready to have a black president. And we got one for 2 terms. And he did not get arrested. No one around him went to prison.
None of that bullshit.
He didn't start a war. The economy recovered under his watch. He didn't, he didn't get head in the Oval Office like Bill Clinton. Right. He didn't get impeached like Nixon. He could have done a lot to make the black community look bad. And he did none of that. He did his job in exemplary fashion.
But he set the standard so high, and look where we at now. With what we have now.
Yeah.
The standard is, he's being accused of all kind of shit. Now, it didn't happen then on his watch, but he set the standard for the next president. And it was just a waste of fucking time.
Yeah.
We are still stuck and stagnated in the same bullshit that we've been getting.
Yeah.
And it just throws me off. And I feel being in the position I'm in now and people listening and people understanding, I think if people can sit back and listen to James McDonald, then people understand a lot more than I thought they did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And wow. It's, oh man, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say, man. It's hard for me right now because, you know, I get choked up on certain situations, but it's just so crazy how things has changed from my life. And I look at it, what if they wouldn't have changed? The grandkids, where would they be? What would they be doing? Who they got to look up to? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to raise a 4-year-old boy to be something I never was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at how the world is today and say, damn, I got a challenge. This is going to be hard. You know what I'm saying? To respect the police to a certain extent now, because I've had the pleasure to befriend some that's been cool, real good, and that don't show racism. You know what I'm saying? That I have a good understanding with. So telling my grandson when he say, Papa, police behind us. Okay, sit down in your seat. Stop unfastening your seatbelt. We gonna go to jail. I just made the biggest mistake with him, telling him that. Now he say, Papa, they're the police over there. We finna go to jail. So I gotta be careful of, you know, how I talk, and what he see is, and you see all of this BS shit out here, and it's way different for me, Vlad. It's way different.